Well, here we are once again. This is Andy Alberti, and I live in Pahrump, Nevada, which is located in Nye County. And today I have a story I want to tell about something that was very unusual that happened. A little background. I'm the new chairman for the Independent American Party of Nevada. And I had 4 candidates running for office here in Nye County. And one of the things that happened during this election was that none of my candidates won. And that part you can understand. We're a new party. We've never had any candidates in a race here in Nye County before. But this was something a little different. And that's what I want to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is the voting list in Nye County. Every chairman of a political party can get a copy of the voter list to use in contacting voters for campaigns and things of that sort. So I did exactly that, and actually had 2 copies, the first and the second. And we used that to generate some mail, first-class mail, to about 3,000 people to find out if we could have some effect on this election. So I want to show you kind of what happened as a result of that mailing. We sent it as first class because we had hoped to have a return of some of the people who no longer lived in Nye County, who had either moved or were deceased or just didn't care to vote anymore. So if you can excuse this 1 second. I started getting back some mail that had to do with this particular vote. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 pieces of mail. It was actually a lot more than that. It was kind of surprising to me how much it was. So I thought, well, maybe I should do a little story about this, because there were some ramifications about the fact that all these letters came back because the people weren't there anymore. And one of the ramifications is that they sell these lists of voters to people who are not members of a political party, who are not, I shouldn't say members, who are not the chairman of the political party. So, that being said, that's going to be a nice little stack. That being said, they pay, I think it's a penny a piece for these. So if you were to get a voters list for all of Nye County, you would get about, it used to be 30 or close to 30,000 names, maybe now about 29,000 names, but let's say between 29 and 30,000. And so if you got, I mailed 3,000 mailer. And what I got back was, oh my God, this list of 750 people who either had the wrong address, that all of these have expired forwarding addresses on them. They came directly from the post office. So this is 750 pieces out of 3,000. Now, if there's, I'm going to use rough numbers because I can't give you anything exactly without boring you to death. But if you had, if 3,000 is 10% of 30,000, then if I was to extrapolate this amount of mail that came back to the total list of potential voters, it theoretically could wind up being over 7,000 people on our voter rolls that don't live where they used to live anymore. And I have it on good authority that some are deceased. So this isn't Chicago. So I'm not sure just how to address this other than to say, for years, people have been demanding that the county clerk update the voter rolls. And Nevada has a system that they recommend the clerk use. However, in the past, the clerk has resisted making any changes or removing people from the voter rolls for whatever reason. She would have to speak for herself there. Now, what's the ramification of this? Okay, so maybe this costs $230 for somebody to buy the list and get it on a CD or a digital format that they can use for mailing. But that's not the only issue here. Every time we have an election, the clerk has to send out, let's take this last general election, the clerk has to send out a voter pamphlet. In this case, it was 22 pages. Well, I should reflect that. It was 11 sheets of paper folded in half and both sides, so the total was actually like 44 pages. And she sends those out to everybody on the list. And they go out as a non-profit organization with a bulk mail stamp or just a stamp. And there's no way that these ever come back to her, so she knows who's not getting this mailer. Now, she has to do this twice in an election year. So she sends this out, and if she's not getting back 7,000 of these, if there's no, I need to go a little further here. Let's see. Oops, I forgot a few of these envelopes. If she sends out 30,000 of those to people who are on the voter list, which she has to, and 7,000 of those are not getting it, what happens to the ones that she sent? Well, when she sends out this list, there's a barcode on it which identifies the name of the person, but it doesn't identify their address. So if you have the address in a barcode format, the post office gives you a rate of pretty close to 29 cents a piece. Without that barcode with the address on it, it's more expensive, and I haven't looked. I put the post office people to some expense to get me the information, so when I got the fact it was 29 cents with the barcode, I know it would just be more expensive without. So I was doing my due diligence, and at 29 cents each, let's call it 30 cents because it's easier to work with round numbers, and let's say 30 cents, and I have 7,000 in rough numbers to mail. That's about $7,000 twice. Now, what happens with these, because they went out as a nonprofit organization? They don't come back to the county clerk. The post office throws them away, or in essence sends them out to recycle the paper. Now, it just seems to me that if you have close to 7,000 people who are invalid on the voter rolls, you might be able to play some games with the vote. Well, I'm not saying that happened, but I'm going to get onto that in a little bit here. But this little pile in front of me, picture of this pile was 10 levels higher. You wouldn't see me, you wouldn't see anything. It would take up the entire screen and then some. We'd have to back the camera away for you to see how many envelopes that would be. Now, I'm not going to say that Nevada has the best system, but it would seem to me that when I sent these out, the clerk said to me when I called her, she said, well, why don't you give them to me and I'll fix the voter rolls with that. Well, how do I know she fixes the voter rolls? Because I've given her my envelopes with the yellow label on it from the post office. So the post office is the one saying these people aren't here anymore. I trust the post office. And actually some of these said, let's see here, some of these didn't just say no more forwarding address expired. Some of them said no such address, bank owned, a different name at this address, no address this name, wrong address. And it just went on and on like that. Not at this address. Another been gone over 6 months, no idea where. So I would expect there would be some minor error in this list. But people in Nye County, the people who are active in politics, have complained for a long time that the voter list is totally inaccurate. So now, and then we have this whole thing of this list being inaccurate. What could happen next? Well, I'm going to take a short break here and take away my envelopes, and I'm going to put up something else to discuss about the most recent election and how I think this erroneous voter list may come into play. So, I'm going to take a break. Well, I think I'm going to take a break. I got this little remote here. I guess that's it.